Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video will be on this beautiful gown. In fact, this gown is so beautiful, and if this is your first time of stopping by, do well to hit on the subscribe button, join the family. And to my old subscribers, I say thank you very much for all your support. You guys know I appreciate it and I love you all. And without wasting so much time, please let's get into the video, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share my videos to family and friends, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Please watch my ads. So let's get into the video. So the first thing we're going to be doing, I almost didn't want to mark these borders, but on the second thought, for the first timers and beginners, so I've already marked my half length. My half length is 14 inches, so that's what I just marked. And the next thing I'm going to be, so what we are marking is the front borders. We're going to be using it to cut out our back one, but so that's why I'm marking on the fabric, on the paper. Then for my shoulder measurement is 12 inches, 13 inches divided by 2, 6.5. That's what I just marked. Then from there I'm going to go down by 7.5 inches for my bust point, and I'll connect these 2 points. My stitching, I'll be adding my stitching allowance when I want to transfer it to my fabric. So once I am done with that, I'm going to go ahead and mark my neckline. For my neckline, I'm marking at 3.5 inches for the length, for the width. And then for the depth, I am marking 3 inches for it. So I'll go ahead and make a curve for this. Then for my shoulder slope, I'm going down by 0.75, and then I'll connect it to my starting point. So onto our bust. Our bust is bust divided by 4. Mine is 8 inches. Just like I said, I'm going to be adding the stitching allowance to my fabric. Then I'll measure from this point to this. For the purpose of those that don't have this cuff, this cuff master, so I'll measure it and then make a point at the center. From that center, I'll go in by half of an inch. Then I'll connect this point, and this point with my curve, or you can just use your hand to connect this. It seems like I'm blocking the light. So this is what we have for our front pattern. So once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and insert my waist measurement divided by 4. Okay, just like I said, I'll be adding my stitching allowance on my fabric. So I'll connect these 2 points, and that's it for our front body. So I'll go ahead and cut this. So I'll transfer this to my fabric. I'll use this to cut out my fabric and my lining before we continue with the back, because there's an adjustment on the waist back and then the back one as well. So guys, this is the front pattern. I've transferred it, and you can see I added half inch stitching allowance here, then this 1.5, then every other side half inch to it. So I'll just go ahead and take out my pins, and then take out, just remember that you're cutting your lining as well. If you're using lining, cut out your lining before we go over to this pattern. So for my back bodies, I want to use this bust point as my guide to for the back, but if you don't want it to extend towards the bust point, you go up a bit to here, or in fact let's go up a bit. So for the back one, I am going up by about 1.5 inches, and then I'll go ahead and connect it. So this is what you're going to have if you want it to extend. Then it now connects your strap, or you start from your armhole or your bust point. That should be your guide up to the strap. Then for the center back, I'm going in up by half of an inch, and then I'll connect it to the side seam. So for me, I'll be using my bust point, just like I mentioned. And then I decided to open up the neckline a bit more. You can leave yours if you want, so I'll just open it up a bit more, and then I'll connect it to this way. So I'll cut this out and also adjust the neckline measurement to the fabric. So then for the back, for the strap, so I'll go in by 1/2 inch. Remember, we are going to be adding zipper allowance when we want to transfer it to our fabric. And then I'll connect this from the neckline, and also from here, from this 1/2 inch, I'll measure whatever I have here. So I have 2 inches. From this 1/2 inch it went in, I'll go in by 2 inches, and then I'll connect this point. So I'm just trying to give it a little curve. So this is what we have. So the reason I opened up the neckline more here is because I noticed that the strap will be too wide if I left it that way. So that's why I reduced it. And you can see I have 2 inches strap of fabric. So I also opened it on the front pattern. So I said, let me show you guys so that you know. Then I'll go ahead and cut that one. Then I'll cut this as well. So this is what you have. And then this is the back. So this back, when you look at it now, you notice that you won't know the front, the up and the down. So I made a small notch here for the upper side. So make notch, if it's either you make notch on the upper side or the lower side, just make sure that wherever you're making the notch, you remember that that's the side that is going to be up or down. So mine is at the upper side that's where I'm going to attach this strap to. So that's where I made my notch. So I'll go ahead and transfer this to my pattern paper, to my fabric and also cut out my lining pieces. So guys, I'm done cutting out my pieces, and I also made a notch at the upper side so that I will know the difference. Then I added my zipper allowance. Let me make notch on the zipper allowance so that I will know that this is my zipper allowance and this is my seam side. So I added my seam side, my zipper allowance, and then the stitching here, my stitching allowance. Then this is the strap of fabric. You can see what we have. So this is the shoulder side, that's the one that has the slanted place, and this is the side that should be straight. So this is how it's going to be on the fabric. This is going to be straight and this is going to be slanted. So this is the lower side and this is the shoulder side, and you can see I've added my stitching allowance to it. So what I'm going to do is to take out my fabric, and also just to be on the safer side, let me just notch this lower side so that I'll know that this is my lower part. I don't want to be confused in any stage of this stitching. So I'll take out my pattern and then I'll pick up one of my pieces. So this is for my lining, so let's keep our lining aside, and then I'll open. So for this piece, I'm going to go ahead and stitch on both sides, and then I'll turn it to the right side, and I'll do the same thing for this other side. Then for my front bodice, I'll open it up this way, and then I'll go ahead and stitch on the neckline, and then I'll turn it to the right side. After stitching, make sure you notch your neckline before turning it to the right side, to the other side. Then I have this strap of fabric for my belt. It's 22 inches long, and then the width is 3 inches or 3.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and fold it this way. Then I'll stitch from here to here and then stitch all the way to the other end. So this side that is open, I'll turn it to the right side from that side. Then I have this fabric for my gathers. I have 3 yards of fabric. The length is 3 yards, so that's 36 inches times 3. Then the length here is, I took out my half length and then I cut out my remaining length, and then I added 2 inches stitching allowance. So I'll go ahead and run a loose stitch here and gather it, and also for this part I'll hem this, folding it by 1.5 inch, and then I'll stitch it all the way to the end. So let's go and do all this and we'll be back. Okay guys, this is the front bodice. I'm done ironing it, stitching, and then turned it to the right side. And just like I said, I'm using the same fabric for my lining and for my main fabric. So this is the strap of fabric for the back. I'm done as well. So this is how it's going to be. It's going to be once we attach it. So let's place it so that I'll be able to attach it. This is the slanted place. We place it this way, and this place is going to be straight. So this is the back bodice. Remember we made notches on this zipper side, so this is the zipper side, and I'll place it this way. I'll bring in this, and then I'll turn it to the right, to the other side. I'll go ahead and pin this down. Remember you are pinning away from the zipper side, so instead of making mistake and you don't know how much inches you have for the zipper, you move it a bit inward, and then you're going to pin this down. I don't know where my pin is at this point, so I'll go ahead and stitch it down, and I'll do the same thing for this other side. But make sure that the allowance you have here is the same thing with this side. So you measure it. I have about 1.5 inches here, so I'll place this away from my zipper side by 1.5 inches. I'll stitch it down. Once I am done with it, I'll bring in my other back bodies, and then I'll place it this way, and we're going to go ahead and stitch this down, or you can just stitch it down without stop stitching this. So I'll do the same thing for this other side. I'll place it this way, and then we'll stitch it down. Once I am done stitching it down, this is what you're going to turn it to the right side. So guys, I'm going to use my pin to hold this down so that you guys can see what we are doing. So once I stitch it down, and then I'll go ahead and turn it to the right side. So let's work with just this side. So this is what we have after I was done turning it. So I'm going to go ahead and work on the arm, on the shoulder line. So for the shoulder line, I'm going to open up my shoulder this way. Remember, we've already stop stitched this shoulder place, so I'll just place it this way, making sure that the two seam line is matching, and then I'll take my lining, front line lining, and then I'll cover it up this way. Once I cover it up, I'll go ahead and stitch it. Then once I'm done stitching it, we will now turn it to the right side. I hope you understand this. So let's. Okay guys, look at what we have after I was done. So look at the shoulder area, you can see well tucked in, and then so this is what we have. This is for the back. Let me place it where so that you guys can see. So this is what we have after we are done. So by the time the zipper allowance aligns or overlap to fix the zipper, this is what we're going to have. So you can see that the armhole is still rough. We've not worked on it, so I'm going to open it this way, and then I'll stitch it by 1/2 inch to the end, and then I'll turn it to the right side. I'll repeat the same process for this one. I just hope you. So once I am done with that, I'll arrange my pieces well. Arrange it well, making sure I have it where I'm supposed to. Then I'll go ahead and stitch on my seam lines by 1.5 inches or whichever allowance you added to it. So guys, I cut out this fabric. It's on fold, so the length of it is about 12 inches, and the width, so we said let's say we have 15 by 12 inches. Remember, it's on fold. So I'll go ahead, we're going to go ahead and stitch this way up to here, and then I'll turn it to the right side. So this is just for the bow. Once I turn it to the right side, I will use my hand needle to gather the center of it. I'll gather it this way. If you don't know how to make your bow, please check the description box. There's a video link there to show you guys how to do this. So I'll gather it and then prepare it to attach it to the fabric. So guys, this is what we have after attaching the gathers. So this is the front part. Let me turn it to the right, to the back, so you see. So this is the back. So this is what we have for the back. I'm done stitching the gather. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to turn it to the wrong side. I'll go ahead and close the zipper allowance and then attach my zipper. So for the bow, I'm also done stitching this, so I'm going to go ahead and use my hand needle, iron this. I'll iron it as first, and then use my hand needle to gather it. So once you're done gathering it, look at what we have. Then I'll use this fabric strap to cover this place up. I'll stitch it down and then turn it, and then I'll attach it to the gown. I hope you find value in this video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you do, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching.